All right, guys. My name is Karan Avasti, and I'm the director at Artshala Center for Design, which is where we conduct specialized training programs for students who are seeking design excellence, whether that be visual design, whether that be visual effects, and any other aspect of design. For today's workshop, we're going to be learning ZBrush, and the topics and the class were already planned after having discussions with your key mentors, which is Rini ma'am and Deep sir. So the workshop has been designed keeping in mind a beginner's mindset. I would request all of you guys, when the instructor comes in and start, sharing his screen and starts doing the activity, to work alongside with him. Because if you're relying only on a recorded session, and the fact that you can always go back to the session and then we watch it and do it, you will not retain or remember any of it. That's a fact. So my request to everyone would be to have ZBrush open on your machines. If possible, work alongside with the instructor step by step. During the session, if you have any questions, put them in the chat window, or you can unmute yourself and ask the instructor right there and there. This helps us in taking care of the classroom and the training in a very methodical manner. And we try our best to make sure that everyone is at the same level, right, when we're working towards doing the activity. So my only two questions would be, and request would be, to engage in the session, to unmute yourself, ask questions, be more active and be more present. For those kids who have already done ZBrush before, or who have attempted ZBrush before, if you find that the instructor is a little slow, or if you find that you have done those activities before, I would request you to be patient, right? And just let the others also learn from the scratch, which is from the first step, right? And that's pretty much it. Any questions you guys have before we start? Anyone for that matter?
I think there is one participant he is asking. This is Rezit from semester 4, and I have downloaded the ZBrush trial pack, but it is saying not responding when I opened it. Please advise.
It's not responding when you're opening it. Well, I honestly don't have the time right now to help you in installing the software. That's a prerequisite that was given to you by the instructors.
Yeah. Yes.
Right. So the best bet would be to just quickly Google it and try to fix it if possible. Trying to install the demo version 2 minutes before the session is about to start is not really a professional way of conducting the class. Poonim, are you here? Yes, sir, you can mute yourself.
Yes.
Brunim, can you hear me? You can hear me fine? Can you speak?
Yeah, but when I hear, I can't talk.
Okay, perfect. So guys, I would like you to welcome Mr. Brunim. Mr. Brunim is an all-round designer, and he has extensive experience in designing games and visual media. Along with that, he is also an avid sound designer and many other design projects that he has worked on worldwide. He will be working with you for the next 4 hours for this workshop in showing you how we can use ZBrush in designing a character. And in the second half of the class, when we come back from lunch, we will be learning how to design environments using ZBrush. Now, the reason why we chose ZBrush is pretty much all the studios, whether they're big scale like MPC or Double Negative or Prime Focus, or even your small boutique studios, they all rely on ZBrush when it comes to character modeling and the look and feel of it. And especially as you're going forward in your BSc program in animation or any other pursuit that you do, you'll realize that learning ZBrush is going to be a massive asset in your tool set. The reason being, not everyone is going to be an animator, towards the end of the program. Your interest might change, your focus might change. You could, go more towards the look and feel or look development, as it's called. So knowing ZBrush is a very big advantage, because literally you can take your 2D sketches or the sketches that you made on paper and you can translate them in a 3D space and then present them, whether it is for a show, for a film, for an animation, for a game, for anything. So that's what Mr. Brunim is going to be teaching you, and he will be sharing the screen with you in a second and starting the session. there might be some internet issues and connectivity issues. In the case of issues where you cannot hear the instructor, or there is a lag in the video or the audio, my request would be to be patient and not to log off from the session. And usually these issues get resolved on its own within, I would say, like a maximum a minute or 2 minutes. And we'll try our best to have a fantastic session. Brunim, over to you.
Morning, sir.
I would like to welcome Mr. Brune Mes. So welcome to the session, and it is a warm greetings and welcome from university, from the students, and from my side. Thank you so much and welcome, very much welcome. Thank you so much.
Brunim, you can start.
Good morning, sir. I'm going to share my screen.
Priya sir, can I request you to be on mute? There's a lot of noise coming from the background. Thank you.
I'm going to talk about the ZBrush. I selected some text in the manual from the site. If you need some question, the best way is it's chatting me, because I can see if some trouble with audio. Now, this is the ZBrush. The design, the manual said, the design is to you have everything in your hands. Usually use the tool that you can scoop. This is a brush difference of the other programs. You do not need to focus on the polygon. You only have to scoop. This Windows is the lighting box. The lighting box, you can find everything about your project or the ZBrush tools, brushes, textures. All kinds of objects you can find in the lighting box. There's a very different way of thinking in the ZBrush. If you save the document, if you want to continue modeling, you need to save like a tool. There's a difference behind the saving mode in ZBrush. It's the first part you need to know. If you make something, you need to save your project. The best way of saving is, if you want to model again, you have to save the tool. The first part you need to know about the ZBrush, it's to open some object to model. I use the lighting box. I use the first one I saw. I used the Dynamesh sphere. You have to be careful what you are using in the ZBrush. You have to do step-by-step things. You have to think what you want. For tip, I always like to mask some part of the object. Then I choose I mask it, then I use the masking tool to choose the inverse, and then I can work here. It's the best way of don't doing a mess. I'm not thinking about the image. I'm only touching the program. It's a good way of beginning. In this side, in the left side, we can see many different kind of behavior. This is the kind of the stroke. This is the brush we are using. There's many different kind of brushes. We can use only the move the topology. There's a image behavior in these brushes. If you can see a little different move from move topology from move, and then this can only be used by the necessity. You're going to have an objective in the project, then you need to make the move. I can move, but I can that thing is not thinking about the topology. Every kind of square that you can see in your project, it's your topology. Sometimes you need to be smooth, other times not. The good way of knowing the program, it's touching its tool, and then looking what is going to be different. Basically, if you use the standard tool, you can make everything in your project like the blocking of the project. You may think like there's something like the manual school modeling object. You may block what you want, and then you can do something different, or make the detail. You can block object, and then you can make details. Not even every time you open the program, you can see these tools. There's two dots in the screen. The same X value. You can find the things in the transform, symmetry, activate symmetry, X. If I choose, I will another kind of symmetry. It's gonna change my dots. If I need to create something with this kind of precision. The first time, it's good to see what's going on in the project, what's going on in the program. Then you can look for each kind of tools we have. But if we focus on only on the tool, we can lost some kind of behavior that we must understand. Like, first thing, we have to save the project. There's two ways of saving. There's two ways of saving the project. You can save with the document, save the document, or you can save like a tool, save as. When I save like a tool, I can open like other kinds of tools. The good way of thinking this program, they have different kind of saving, different kind of doing what you want. You can do pieces of your project, save like a tool, and then you can create another one and put all together. Is a good way of thinking. The other way, you have to know what you want. You want to only to save the 3D. You can only save the object. You can use the Z plugin to export for 3D, STL. You can save like a tool, and we can export if we want to use another extension. Now, I only playing with this object. There's two understand of the brush. I think the best way of talking is showing how to do, and then we can talk the particulars. The how to do is more easy than the all kind of sort of things we have in the program. First part, we have to understand we can create the first tool, the standard tool. It's a way of putting how to say, I forget some word. One minute, please. The sculpture math. I forget this word. The sculpture math has two way of thinking. You can put math, you can get off math. With the two kind of tools, you can have different kind of behaviors. You can you must understand these two kind of behaviors. With the call out, you pick up mass. Without the out, you put mass. It's the first behavior must understand. All sort of brush is the same way. If you understand this, you can make many things. Another understanding, if you are putting math, if the object in Photoshop and use head surface to make the close or the details. And noticing that we have some squares here, 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 here. Everything is with squares. Again, we need to make dynamic, and then we apply the object. When we come again, it's less strokes. Then we save. I'm only making this mess for understanding. The best way of understanding is trying. We don't have to be afraid of trying. There are many ways of putting your texture. You can turn around. The test, the stroke only be attached after you release the mouse. If I want to make a big one, I have to press and drag a lot my image. We have to use Ctrl Z to better understand. And the art, it's the concept. If you think it, that where I can use this, I can think it's a object that I can push in the game to open another. It's a box, can be a big box. The creation, we have to think in a concept. It's a good way of don't less time. I mean, now only using direct, direct, and some brush for better understand your hard surface. And for environment, it's the best way. You can create any form, and then you can make this can be a wall of a temple. That can be a stone. It's the context that creates the difference in games, in art. For now, I want to the better understanding of if you create on other, the noise it creates inside the movement you created. Now it's for better understanding. I created this movement, and then we create something inside. The noise become inside what you created. There's a noise and a movement. This is a good way of working too. You can create this in ZBrush, the same object that can go to a game, can go to 3D print. Now I want you to understand, if you create some image and put again another image, distort. I created this movement only for art and for showing. In game or in others like film production, you have some briefing and you have to create inside the text of the briefing. The briefing can be you have to create a stone from a template, and then the stone have different forms. For now, I want to make it, the words can be new for you, hard surface or not. If it's a new word, you can make this word can put the word in mind to or write to sit after, because your sit is gonna be easier for you for better understanding. We know how to put these in some object. You have to try again. You have to open a light box, open an object, and try again. I will make this. I can make with the transform open. And let me find some I create for all over of the object. I can make again. All my object become with the texture that I want. If I want to create a rock, it's a good way of create some structure. 1 minute, please. More one time. I can create some image like that, and I can put like a mountain. I can use with the size that I want. Can be a small rock or a big mountain. Can be look at like a big mountain. Or can be a small rock. It's your decision. Now I'm trying to make environment only with the drag rect, because we saw in other parts of our class about the brush, about the edit mode, about the Z in the sub, ZI in the Z sub. We're talking about the movement, the zoom. We know how to save a project. We can save the project by these documents part. When we save here, we can choose save like a tool or save like a document. It's different kind of extension. I like to save like a tool. I will do again. It's very important for understanding. I choose this because it's hard to make draw in these objects. It's very hard. For I try to make some texture, but was very hard the mesh. Then I needed to make the geometry and click it dynamic subdivision. Now I'm doing it again. For better understanding, texture, it's different from mesh movement, from surface movement. I use hard surface to create mesh, to create movement. For now, I only want the better understanding of creating some props. I'm using the alpha with the Z sub. We created this object from the lighting box. This is a object from zbrush. Notice that we have some problem here. We created some dynamic subdivision, and then when we touch the image here, the subdivision has this movement because it's the mesh movement. Sometimes we must create the subdivision again. Sometimes we have to smooth with the smooth tool. It's shift tool, pressing. With hard surface, we win a lot of time. The best understanding of creating any object for prop, for game is hard surface. Everybody uses that. I'm only using the inside program object. If I want to create something different, I can create the movement and then I press in the alpha button, make 3D object. This is a way of changing the format. I can use that for an island. You can try to make. I think I need a dynamic. I think it can be an island from a turtle. Sometimes you need only to make noises or movement of the surface to make different parts or different or to better your mind better understand the different parts. I pressed F for to put my image in the center. It can be a good adjustment this. I will save. Okay. Now I'm gonna create another object. I can put the objects together too. Can be different. Let's create a ring. It's the same thing. This is a component that the unit already have. Now, mm, I'm trying to make art.
So your voice.
Oh, sorry. I said I'm trying to make art, then I'm trying to make art. I forget to talk.
Okay.
Sorry. No, I'm only talking the same thing. I used the same structure. Then I noticed that I have the same problem with squares. I need it's the program way of thinking. They create mass in the sculpture using alpha, but they don't use the smooth way of creating. Then we have to create some dynamics. Then if you look, it's better looking. And when you apply again some movement, you can see it's the result is better. The result is better because we use the geometry. We can make again. We don't have to worry about the only the only the only worry is about the RAM memory. If we need more RAM memory, we need to save the object. Sorry about the silence. I was trying to make something, and then I concentrated a little for, but it's only for that. Think about the concept. I only use uh, when I do a lot one thing when I'm trying to become programmer. I make a lot data structure. I write a lot, and then that's helped me better understanding about writing code. And then when I'm trying to make 3D objects, I begin doing the same many times. That helps me better understand. If I try to make it in different, using different kind of strokes, if I use a name stroke that everybody don't have in the computer, don't come with the ZBrush, it's gonna be harder for understanding. I think when I make some movement, when you are understand that I'm using direct, when I'm using some alpha, and then I use a lot that alpha, that help you better understand what I'm doing. I'm doing only I'm doing only the part of how to say. I have to see that word, but it's to the new logic become more easy to understand, or not to become the new new knowledge. When you use a lot something like we're increasing and creating, and we can create the object that not become the new object. Your mind understand better. Então, then I use the same brush because I think it's better understanding. This class I talked about hard surface because it's a way of working. We have a few ways of working 3D. We have the way of using polygons that all kinds of work use polygons too, but we use main subdivisions that help us better looking for our project. And I have to, I think if it's new for someone, I have to talk a lot the same thing because it's more easy for understand. Now I'll do the same with the sub tool. The sub tool, we can sub objects. We can make contrast. You can see more details of the object when you use the sub tools. And when we are working with a 3D, we have to look for other angles. For 3D print, this size don't come out. We have I create my thoughts to have fun too. Then when I make details, this size don't come for 3D printing. You have to make more this kind of size. This intensity helps a lot. We have to increase more if you want to see details in 3D print. For 3D print, this kind of work don't come to eye. It's like a 3D object, not a 3D print object. We need more intensity, we need more sub, we need more add for detail, and those let's say how so little, because this ring have 2.5 I'd say have 1 inch. Then 1 inch with this size of details can come in 3D print. It's the tip. If you want sometimes to make one ring, you must understand that if you have so little details, we must need more Z intensity, but this kind of details so little only for 3D view, not for 3D print. I'm only working in the same object because I can create new movement. Every time I make a movement, if this object is for 3D view, it's not for 3D print because we can't see many details like that in 3D printing. And now I was in silence. And let me create another. It's a good time when you don't worry in creating new objects. Every time you create new objects, it's better you become. For now, I'm only trying to make alphas with alphas that we can find in ZBrush. I'm going to find another kind of transform. I click it transform. I click it z-axis in and z-axis and z-axis, x-axis and z-axis. Now, when I create in one side, the other side will be created. This is a good tool. I will do something easy, only for understanding. And I will change the mesh from this part only for better understanding. I use it transform, activate symmetry, X and Z. Then when I drop, I will do some add too. And the Z in the X helps me that I get some symmetry. If I was creating something that I need to be the same in the other side, I have to choose. I only choose some texture, some movement of the mesh. It's not texture, it's texture for visualization, but it's a mesh movement of our object. With the symmetry, we can create many different things and make it more easier. If you have to make this here and make the same in the other side, it's very hard, very difficult. For now, what we have a better understanding of hard surface. We have a better understanding of lighting box. We clicked many times. We know that we have light box here. We have light box here. These tools is the same. These tools. This stroke is the same thing. The same stroke we find here. Stroke is the same. If we're gonna see, the program has so many ways of talking the same thing. Material here is the same material here. So different way of showing, but we can find many things that we already know. Material, we can change the material of the object, like it's a plate, ring. We can test with material. We can use gold here, gold. We can test. We can put this material in spot to other programs and using in our game or in your advertisement or what you want to create, film. If we want to create this kind of object, this with the free hand, we will spend many time to create that.